Other interesting cultural news, you have General Motors crushing famous concept cars, including the one from Demolition Man, which used to be a dystopian, futuristic movie, which now, I mean, just turn on the news and look at San Francisco. Hard to tell the difference between the two. Now, this comes to us thanks to the good old website by the name of MotorTrend.com, one of the favorite OGs. I mean, I definitely show my age when I say I used to love the Motor Trend magazines, which they used to have. They might still have, but no one buys them, let's be honest. Now, specifically, this writer is Alexander Stokolsta. They say, quote, GM's crushing old concept cars, even one pretty famous car. Again, and you can just, if you're just looking on the screen, they have a picture of the famous Cadillac concept car that showed up in, was it 1983? What was it? It was couple of the issue or cars from Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone. They say, quote, an eagle-eyed photographer spied a 1990 Cadillac Aurora Shore car on a separate occasion, a 2001 Pontiac Rev concept, in the same time the same lot that GM has where they had cars headed for the Crusher. It's a holding pen that's famous, where they usually tired old prototypes and early test cars that aren't or can't be sold to public, outlive their lives, and meet their demise, which I almost have that Harrison Ford moment where I just shake my hand and be like, it belongs in a museum! Which, God, that was awful, to say the least. But nevertheless, of all things, especially in Michigan, I mean, they're famously headquartered, the place of headquarters of the big three. You got Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler, now Stellantis. There's some, again, the Henry Ford Museum is beautiful. Granted, I know it's a competitor, but the fact you don't put it in a museum, really? That's just sad. They say, the quote, the two concept cars originally debuted beneath the gleaming lights of the Chicago Auto Show, the Cadillac at the 1990 event and the Pontiac at the 2001 event. The Cadillac featured a 200 horsepower 4.5-liter V8 all-wheel drive and frame adapted from a front-wheel drive DeVille. Curiously, the DeVille had a transversely mounted engine powered by the front axle, while the Aurora Concept V8 sat lengthwise within the same frame rails, a longitudinal position lining up with a drive shaft powered the rear wheels. Besides going on to have a second life in the movie prop, the 1993 Demolition Man, which used several other 19-era GM concept cars as futuristic stand-ins, it also inspired the selling of the later 1997 Cadillac Catera sports sedan. Scroll down a little bit, you can see other issues. Oh, I was going to say that's a crappy new EV Cadillac. No one wants that. Fact check. 13 people want it. Bloody pop up. So I can see more pictures of the Cadillac. I can see that that's just a funky looking concept Pontiac right there. Yeah, and it also is heartbreaking that GM killed the Pontiac brand when they went bankrupt in 2009. Their third bankruptcy since Billy Durant founded the company all those years ago. See the cool Pontiac? See, that looks so angular. It looks like the Pontiac Matrix, but they had more fun and more styling and more money and more budget. That's the closest car I can think of in terms of what might look similar to this. And it just looks astronomically cool. And here, they have one more note here. And it is heartbreaking to see these pieces of automotive history just literally being crushed. And I also blame, lawyers and litigations for reasons they can't sell to the public. And GM's by no means the first car company to do this. Toyota famously had a couple really cool concept cars that they destroyed Q4 last year. And one of them was actually a digital concept car. I think it was actually one of the first Priuses ever made. And one of the main reasons they don't give it out or just auction it off or sell it to an end user or customer is because they're worried about litigation and being sued. And the government saying, oh yeah, this doesn't meet, you didn't crash this into a wall 58,000 times. I'm sorry, this isn't authorized. You can't have it. That being said, you can make the argument for a show display example. And yet, they're just throwing these pieces of hit. And again, I know Demolition Man wasn't like an iconic movie that everyone loved. It's not overly famous, but it's a pretty good film. And yet the movie studio didn't want this. They're just literally just going to throw it away. Actually, worse than throwing it away, because again, if this got to a salvage yard, I guarantee you some collector would pick it up. Even if it wasn't running, just as a cool display piece or a good garage car. Again, there's some folks that are pretty well off, but they'll just have cool toys in the garage. Doesn't necessarily mean they work. It's just a cool display piece. And yet, GM and their infinite wisdom, that's a irony, they are deciding, oh yeah, we're going to crush these pieces of history. And I mean, car culture is one of the coolest things to be a part of. It's so much fun, especially when the vehicles have 3 pedals, also known as managed transmission, also known as the best way to drive, bar none. But I'm partially digress. The fact that they're just going to throw these pieces of history away, and I mean, you'll never see them again. Me as a gearhead, that just was kind of a little punch in the gut. And the odds that GM changes their mind is zero, not zero, but 0.0000732%. But again, I mean, relative to the amount of space that they have in Michigan, I don't think it's a space issue. All the things they could have kept in their GM vault, which again, they also sold a lot of the GM vault, their vault where they hold many historical examples of their vehicles when they went bankrupt in 09. Just can't believe they're just throwing away the piece of history. I mean, a lot of manufacturers, especially manufacturing industries, they'll keep these pieces of history partially for inspiration for the new up-and-coming designers and engineers to look at and reference when they're creating new stuff. So maybe I'm just overly nostalgic, but let me know. Do you think they should be in the business blunder part of the show with GM crushing these mercilessly? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.